Hello. How's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Hope everyone's had a fantastic Friday. The week is over. It's 25th of July. It is Friday. And yeah, Arsenal, Gyökeres, number 14, medicals tomorrow, and he should be joining us in Singapore. Those are the main news basically regarding Arsenal today. Lots of pictures regarding Mosquera in the training as well and everything. So there is definitely stuff to talk about in those terms. But today, probably as you can see by the title, we should be joined by the accountant, the taxman, our supplier, if you get what I mean, by Yesa TV, a Chelsea fan, if you didn't get it from the reference mark. So we'll see how that is going to go, how everything is going to go from those terms. But yeah, big up, people. Hope everyone's doing great. Hope everyone's had a fantastic day. Smash the likes, subscribe if you're new, and leave your thoughts down in the live chat. And we gonna go from there. We're gonna see what's happening, how everything is shaking, and where everything is gonna develop from those terms. How everything is going regarding Arsenal. But yeah, we are doing great. Arsenal are in some motion, doing some things. Big up views. If I'm not mistaken, views rated, but yeah, I cannot tell because on stream it doesn't pop up for some weird goddamn reason. But yeah, big up views. Hope you're doing great. Big up Mubarak. Big up. Gyökeres is gonna wear the number 14, Thierry Henry number. Over the years, our number 14 luck has been a bit questionable, to say the least. Let's just put it that way. Obviously, the latest one has been Edin Nketiah, so the bar is pretty damn low. I'm not gonna lie. Aubameyang, okay, we can live with that. Of course, Thierry Henry, there is the less said the better. Let's be real, because that is an icon in Arsenal, in Premier League, and in everything. And of course, Theo Walcott and all this stuff. So there have been some good players worthy of the number 14, and then have been some very questionable. Let's just put it that way. People want to know Arsenal must deduct players before more players. It looks that way. That we need to sell. We need to minimize our squad by some numbers, just so we can sign some more players. It looks that way. Today I'm reading that there could be a chance that Jesus is being sold or being removed from the team. Apparently, Andrea Berta is exploring that option in general to sell. There is some interest from some Brazilian teams, so it will be interesting to see whether that develops or not. Obviously, the question about Zinchenko still persists. Also, Fabio Vieira, Reece Nelson's loan and everything. Of course, on top of all that, some loans and everything. Berta has lots of stuff to do, to say the least. Berta definitely has lots of stuff to do. And the outgoings, to some extent, will be very important for Arsenal's remaining part of the window, which is a bit more than a month left, I'm not going to lie. Premier League kicks off in 3 weeks or so. So that is also a bit shaky, to say the least. So Andrea Berta needs to get some move on ASAP to some extent, I'm not gonna lie, because if we want to sign even Eze before the season kicks off, he needs to get a move on. Genuinely needs to get a move on. For me, Chelsea, no, but Team Liverpool, it is a bigger... Liverpool are favorites by default just because they won it last year and their team is at the moment looking better. Man City is the other ones. Obviously, Arsenal are the third ones and Chelsea as well. But Chelsea has improved, I would say, quite a bit in attack. Defensively, they still need a few improvements here or there in goalkeeping department, in center back department, in my opinion. But yeah, Chelsea, obviously, last year they already was top 4. They finished only a few points behind us. So they are our problem already, to say the least. And Chelsea long term could be a big issue. It definitely is not gonna be that easy. Big up BBK. Hope you're doing well, my guy. Like and subscribe, people, to BBK as well. Big up Wahaha. I have that scores again. Vasul, big up Vasul. Just don't do it to us. Big up. And yeah, we have been joined by resident Chelsea fan, a taxman, a guy who basically sells us everything he has just so he happy. We have been joined by Yesa.
Once a taxman, you came up with that name, the taxman. Big up, though, big up. Nice, obviously, finally. Thank you for having me on, innit?
But yeah, big up, big up. Go subscribe to Yasser as well. His link is in that title and everything. Resident Chelsea fan. He sells us everything he has to help fund his team. And let's be real, we are helping them fund it. We are funding them to catch us up, basically, to some extent. If
To
you
be
look at
fair,
it from that point
I
of
might be
view.
doing I might be doing more selling today. Depends on how the day goes. Yeah.
Hopefully not to us though, just to say the least. Like we
Yeah.
don't need your Nkunkus and disasters and everything else. Like let's just put it that way. Like don't know, thank you. No, 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 no. But yeah, obviously for you, it's a quite decent video for you as well. To be honest, at least attacking wise, I would say in overall
Yeah.
terms.
Yeah. I think I only expected maybe to get one attacker and then one striker. I knew that we were gonna get a winger because we knew Jadon Sancho was gonna go. When we found out he was gonna go, that meant we have to replace him. Obviously we had the Mudryk situation, so we had to replace him as well. You know what I mean? So you knew that if there's gonna be outgoings, those players had to be, um, you know what I mean, replaced. And then obviously we got the Nkunku's leaving and whatever this guy's leaving. So if Jackson's leaving, we'll still get another attacker. So there's still some question marks about what potentially our season, like how our team's going to be at the end of the season. But so far, so good. You know what I mean? So far, so good.
But yeah, the attack is kind of interesting because you said you basically expected Sancho to leave. Basically what's going to happen with Sterling. That's God knows what. To be honest, he's been offered to Napoli, some Premier League teams, and stuff like that.
You had
Mudryk,
Fulham
of
as well.
course. Fulham as well. Oh
Mhm.
God. So Reece Nelson is off, I guess, in that regard. Maybe not, to be honest. So Mudryk, obviously, that's a different type of story. Let's be real. Probably Arteta is going to sign him in a few years. But overall, if we look like, I don't think you expected Madueke to be sold, though.
Yeah, actually, no. I didn't expect Madueke to be sold. You're right. I thought he'd have one more season. But then we also had Estaval coming, who we know is going to play on the right. And, like Palmer can play on the right if we need it and whatever. Like, we knew that there's other ways. But the seasons that he had so far, when he didn't do anything to convince us and say, you know what, you're part of the players that are unsellable or untouchable in terms of if an offer comes in, we're not selling you. Similar thing with Jackson, if you've seen it. He's been, to be fair, he has been one of the luckiest people in the world in terms of no one gets, like, look, even let's say an Nketiah never got the amount of chances that Jackson got in terms of like you are the starter because we didn't get another striker, so you're gonna be the starter for 2 years. You know what I mean? So he didn't seem to be the guy that we needed, or we knew eventually he was going to be replaced if he didn't take it to the next level. And I think that last season we seen it, and we realized that it was, especially because what's weird is beginning of the season he was really good up to like December, and then we thought, you know what, maybe he's worked on his finishing, and maybe this is him now. But then we saw the big fall off, and then we realized that it was a purple patch. You get, but this is why I never said he was back, and I said I want to see if this is gonna happen consistently over the whole season. Well, a lot of players have like a period where they kind of go quiet and then come back. Remember, even Harry Kane had that November period or whatever it was, where he used to ghost for a while and then he would get all his goals again. So, but with him, it turned out to be he was consistently costing us games. So it was one of those things where he said, you know what, getting a striker now is non-negotiable. Because if it did end up working out, like for example how Kane worked out at Tottenham, you have a gem in terms of, you know what, I've bought him for 35 million or 40 million, whatever it was, and he's turned out to be a very good striker. But my issue with Jackson's always been that obviously he plays football like someone who he started playing football on the left wing, and he's been put up front. So it's one of those things where he doesn't have the know-how of a natural striker to play up front. Now he can do everything else well, besides heading the ball and finishing. And you don't need your winger to finish, really. Like, it's only recent, like in the last, I don't know, decade or so, is when football became, inverted wingers and if you know, if your striker's not a goal scorer like Firmino, for example, he facilitate for the wingers. But this is where the whole goal scoring wingers thing comes from. But if you have a striker that scores all the goals, you don't need goal scoring wingers. They just need to provide for that striker. So it depends on that. But obviously, we had this thing where our wingers weren't scoring and our strikers not scoring. But Palmer was scoring. See, it's one of those things, isn't it, where we said, you know what, we need someone. And this is where I like the profiles we brought in this season. They both of them specifically are good footballers, and they can facilitate, but they also, well, not necessarily Pedro because he's not a natural striker, but someone in the lap is. So he can run in behind. You know what I mean? He can hold up the ball. He has a good first touch. I'm like, it's enough for me. You know what I mean? If someone's a good football, because this is my thing. You can get a very expensive striker. Osherman's one of them, right? You can get those expensive strikers, but they are maybe mavericks. Like they can do something crazy, like jump in the air and just about tap the ball in. You know what I mean? Do those things where score the goals. But then if you start playing football, it's like trampoline foot. You know, every time the pass from the ball, he's chasing the touch, he's running past, and then it becomes he's ruining the flow up front. But when the ball's in the box, you can rely on him, that kind of thing. So it depends how your team plays, and then you can see if you can take it forward. So yeah, man, we'll see how this window is gonna be. Because like Mon says, yeah, it's all fun and games till the ball gets kicked. You know what I mean? And football's not played on paper, so yeah, man.
Yeah, but you kind of lucked out in terms of Jackson from that point of view, though. Yes, he cannot finish to save his life half the time, let's be real, but
yeah.
See, his purple patch came in the first part of the season, right?
Yeah.
So the second part basically showed what is what. For us, unfortunately, last season, with Havertz, he hit his purple patch in the second part of the season. Well, not the last, but season before that. Which basically meant we just most likely would not go for a striker at the end of the day.
But sorry, lad. Sorry, Robo. I don't know if you heard of this before, but when you got Havertz, have you ever had Chelsea fans tell you when he will and when he won't score?
No.
So there's something called the March Madness, because he scores goals in March, which you just said, yeah, he scores in the latter part of the season. So he has this thing where he scores and then he just goes quiet. And this is why his numbers have always been around this 10, 12 and whatever like numbers that he had. And he could never really be that striker that we needed. So, and everyone, this is what we knew, that, okay, cool. Maybe if you can fix those parts where he doesn't score goals in those periods, maybe the Havertz thing would work out. This is what we said when you got him. But we've watched him for long enough sometimes to say, and this is where, and you've seen it as well recently with others like a Madueke, whatever, when you've seen him, yeah, we will warn you about what he's good at and what he's not good at. Then there's a certain part of the fan base that will say, you lot are just hating, you're annoyed that we took your player, blah, blah, blah. And then we're like, okay, cool, you'll find out. City fans did the same with Zinchenko and Jesus. They said, Zinchenko was crying when we lost a game or whatever it was. And Jesus, he's never been good enough to be Aguero's backup, even though he was supposed to be that. Yeah. Remember, he came in when I think he was 16. He was scoring goals every time he came off the bench or whatever. But every time he played a lot of games, they didn't get the goals. So they sold him. But they're like, no, we bring in experience. And then he realized later on, Zinchenko's crying on the bench when he lost against Liverpool or something.
Those things he got nutmeg. It was then.
Yeah, and then he came off, and then whatever. And then you realize that a lot of the things we tell you sometimes, we don't need to lie by it. Because if you took one of our good players, we'd be upset.
Well, you
wouldn't laugh.
Good players, though.
Yeah, so if you took even Jackson, I don't want to sell him to United.
Yeah,
I'd rather sell him to a Villa or, I don't know, go somewhere else. Because I know that because the thing with Jackson is, he started playing football professionally in like 2019. And he got into the Villarreal team. Emery put him on and he started playing. So his development is a bit slow, like later. It's delayed compared to players that come on and they're already playing high level of football from early on. So he's one of those players, if his finishing ends up working out, even Cunha when he came in. I remember Cunha when he first came at Wolves, he was just missing here. And then all of a sudden he came from there. When we had Poch, he scored a hat trick. I was like, yeah, we had to give him the hat trick, you know. And then after that, he's been playing really well. So sometimes some players need that period where they score and then it just becomes they've just unlocked something, right? It might be later than usual, but the thing with Jackson, he has the fundamentals except for when he has to shoot. That's when he doesn't know how to like put his body the right way and all that. But he has everything else because if he didn't, we wouldn't be playing in that way we did last season, right? In terms of he even remember that one of the Arsenal games when he was running past Saliba and all that. Remember, he had that period where he was running the channels and whatever at the time, so he has everything else. It's just that we cannot rely on him as a main player. Now I don't mind keeping him as a backup or whatever, yeah, whenever we need him, whatever, like it's calm with me. But I feel like if you're gonna get 60 million and business is business,
Yeah. Well,
business,
I
bro.
don't know. I wouldn't know about that, to be honest, as
Yeah,
Arsenal
yeah,
fan.
yeah. But this is the thing though. There's a lot of players that sometimes you move on. There's another thing with like a Madueke. I feel like he's come in, he's played, he's gotten chances to be fair, but he hasn't, because this is the thing with him. You'll find out this as well. When he's gonna drop training videos and you'll see him like do the thing where they do 1-2s and he cuts left and he shoots, yeah. They all go in training, but they never go in the game. Yeah. So sometimes you think maybe he's improved and then he comes back. But it's just for me, his game is more final third. That's his problem in terms of he doesn't make that decision quick. So okay, let's go to like a Saka. Usually when he cuts in, he shoots. Right? He doesn't do the like sometimes he does fake shot, but sometimes if it doesn't work out, it happens, but it's not every single time. With Madueke, it seems to be almost every single time, or he makes the wrong decision, or he holds on to the ball too long. Like you get it, it's all final decision stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like those are things that can be ironed out because the way he plays his game is more. He takes his man on every single time, right? And usually with that comes, you can't always, yeah. You can't. This is the thing. It's usually a low success rate. There's not a lot of players that take their man on every single time and keep the ball. But at least he's being, in terms of footballing wise, he's being positive. Like he's trying to get the ball down there. He's trying to go that way. Does that make sense? Whereas there's a lot of players who get the ball and they pass back. I hate that.
Well,
I
that's
hate when
all our
winners get
team
the
what
ball
is
and pass
doing
back.
basically. They get the ball and pass it back half the time.
Yeah, and then but what they rely on usually is to pass it back, and then they can make that run, and then they get the ball over the top,
Yeah.
right? Which is a lot what Saka gets a lot. But you want your winger to kind of be a bit more, especially if you play low blocks. Yeah, you don't want him to just keep going back, because those are the risks you want to take. The problem is just that when we started seeing the type of wingers that we are bringing in now, because we have an Estevao now coming in, hopefully he does well. I know he's very young. I don't gas him up yet because I want to see him play in the Prem. But from what I've seen so far, he looks like a really good player. But we have other players that do that all the time anyway. On the left hand side, we needed also a more direct winger. I wanted to keep Sancho because if you look at the left winger market, which you're also trying to look someone in the left winger market, the best player in the left winger market now is probably Rodrigo. And then if you go down, it's probably Sancho.
Massive drop off though. Well, you
There's
could
a drop
argue.
off. Yeah, there's a drop off. Quality as a footballer, cool. They're probably not that far from each other. But what they provide you on the pitch and their playing style might be completely different. I think Rodrigo's a bit more direct. Sancho's more of a link-up player. So I didn't mind keeping him. And then I think he turned down a 180k a week contract, whatever. We are a bit more criminals, innit? We don't really give you those 300k a week. Cole Palmer's on 150, you know? You're not gonna get that much. Yeah. It's crazy. There's not that much. So at the end of the day, Cole Palmer's also, yeah, you're right, boy. Because Cole Palmer, not Palmer, sorry. Sancho's more of what's it called? The way he plays football is almost like depending on how the teams play football. If
Well, he needs players around him to move and open up and do
they
everything.
open up
Had the
exactly,
work
so,
basically.
yeah, and he's all the other years that you've seen him really play well at Dortmund or whatever has always been when he had the striker, a target man, where what they usually do is just pass it straight into the striker, make that run 1-2, or be a bit more going around. Whereas we had that issue where even when he did make assists or try to do an assist, he never nothing ended up happening from it. Yeah, or even our this season we played, but he didn't have the overlap either. So it's usually, and you see that as well with Martinelli, where everything's working on that right because everyone's getting the overlap, the underlap, and everything, but the left is not getting as much attention. We had a similar issue as well because Cucurella inverse. So those are the context you don't get from our club in it. Like you don't know that, like everyone just says played well or played rubbish, but that's one of those things. Mudrik, unfortunately, with Mudrik, I've never, you know me, I looked into the whole Mudrik thing because I thought there's no way you spend that much money on someone that's rubbish. Yeah, I know he's probably
Well,
wait. This is my thing. He is not that good yet. As in, we've seen way better players than him. Obviously, I'm
yeah,
not saying he's good, but what I mean is like there had to be something there for you to spend that much money.
reasons behind it,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you,
Cool. I started looking into it. Yeah, maybe he's one of the quickest players you've seen in recent times. But
yeah,
after Bale or something, bro, because the way he kicks the ball, and I seen it against Nottingham Forest, he just kicked the ball and just ran. And I thought, yo, this is crazy. Even when one side Nkunku couldn't catch up and then ended up missing when we could have won the game. But the way what I realized is he only plays 30 professional games in Ukraine at the time.
yeah. He didn't play a
So
lot. Very small
he's
amount of games.
basically like a very raw player kind of thing, right? He had that very good game against Real Madrid when he had the standing ovation,
Yeah.
whatever, which is great. But then what then ended up happening is he came to Chelsea, and I don't know if you remember, we had Potter. We had Potter. Now at that time we had that whole joke about our changing room are too small, we have too many players, whatever, whatever, yeah. Then he when Potter came in, he chose all the experienced players and you left him on the side. So he never got a chance, yeah. Then he got sacked. Poch came in. Oh my days. Poch played him in the half space on the left
Yeah.
instead of on the wide spaces. And if he played, he'd drop. If he played well, he'd drop him. And if he didn't play well, he'd play him again. And sometimes you don't see him. All these things hindered his development, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then this is where it kind of went thinking. When Maresca came in and he played Conference League games or whatever, and he shaved bald, you know what I mean? That's when he changed. He went bald or whatever that cut was, the buzz cut, and he really started playing well. Like he started getting that confidence because he looks like a confidence player. He looks a bit like a
Yeah.
confidence player, and he started playing well, better, better, better. And then all of a sudden, when we felt like cool, you are now back up to Sancho on the left, and it helps because in the second half, even though Sancho cuts in a lot or whatever, second half when the people are a bit more tired, you're now getting runs in behind,
Mhm. Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
helping us a bit more. Even if he might not be able to score, he can put that ball in the box, do something. Do you know what I mean? And his pace was too dangerous because maybe
Oh,
he's not that good. He can get the ball to the other side at least, and then maybe if he can pass it across the box, someone else will score. You know what I mean? That is to that. There's something you can get out of him, and then you can keep developing him, and it was working, especially this season. And then that thing came in it, so that was
well,
unfortunate. So you do have to get a different winger. But yeah, man. So far, some of the business has been done well. It looks like we might keep Hondo from SWAT. You know, what I mean, the goalkeeper.
oof.
He looks like we might keep him,
What
and maybe
Sanchez?
go for Manyan in January. I don't know what's going on here.
Like, like, like it's actually like you're looking at you. You genuinely need two players. Well, three. Let's just put it that way. Three players in
Okay.
specific positions, and you are
So, what
kind of
positions
good
would
to
you say?
go.
That give me
Well,
like an
I would say goalkeeper.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's very obvious.
Because that kind is a freebie. Let's just put it that way,
Yeah,
to some extent. You need a center back, but you gonna get Hatso or not?
I think from what we're hearing, like personal terms already agreed for Hato.
So just a matter of
Uh,
time, basically,
it's just
knowing
basically
you a lot.
negotiating. Ajax wants some players from they want to get some players from us. You know me. You know what we do. What you take my player, we take your player. That's almost every deal that we've been doing recently. Whereas like if we're gonna approach a club, we just I don't know. Are you do you actually live in Latvia now? Like or
Yes.
you just
Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I don't know if you have those department stores that have the book. They're very big book. It's like a telephone book. And then you can see all the things that they sell in the store in one book. we give this to the club that we turn up to. And by the way, we do want to buy your player, but if you live in England, you know about the Argos book. We used to have an Argos book in England. You turn up, you give him. This is our current, the things we have in store. If you want to pick someone,
This
then
is
you
what we
can
can
find it.
offer you. This is, and you can pick and choose who you want,
Yeah, you
basically.
could do the list if you want as well. But that's what we do. We give you a list and we say, look, if you want something that we want, we can maybe make a deal. But Hato can play left back and centre back. They, from what I've heard and spoke, because obviously I'm Dutch in it. Like
Yeah.
I used to live there and all that. So we used to have so I still have connections. I speak to Devante. I don't know if you know Devante from Northside Channel, the Ajax fan. And I spoke to him and this Michael TV. He's also an Ajax fan. And I spoke to them and he said he's basically what they call the left-footed timber. That's what they call him. Listen, I have to talk about this here. You man, it's not our fault that you buy, bro. And I was talking to what's his name again? Propaganda, whatever, the propaganda machine. Big up to Black Eye, yeah. And I said, man, Arsenal are favorite nitty. You know what I mean? Favorite nitty.
140 million almost in like. Come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? That's basically we have signed Gyökeres and someone else basically.
140 million, yeah, Caicedo and someone else. Caicedo
And the lap, let's just put it that way. If we look at the
Caicedo
currency,
in the lap. Yeah.
in those terms, if we look at it, kind of nice for you, isn't it?
Hey, listen,
Like,
I'm not complaining, bro. If you keep buying,
well,
you're buying.
obviously,
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. But this is my point, though. Like with Hato, we needed a left back backup for Cucurella.
But why not
Obviously,
left back? But why does not go for Grimaldo or someone like that? Or you want to keep Gyökeres as the number one?
Cucurella staying as the number one.
So you need a young understudy.
Understudy, and by the time maybe Cucurella ends up moving on, if he does get moving on, we have.
What about Chilwell though?
What's it, Chilwell? Chilwell is in a place called the Bomb Squad. We have a place called the Bomb Squad, or the Gulag, as people know it as well. The Gulag, you don't train there, yeah. And he's one of those players that received him and Sterling at the time, yeah, who received those 300k contracts, 250k contracts, whatever it was.
That's the Champions League contracts, or that is after?
No. So what happened with that was when our ownership came in after won the Champions League.
Oh, after. Yeah,
when Tuchel was in, our wing backs were Reece James and Chilwell. Remember, they were our wing backs, and they wanted to protect them in terms of because especially our club was a bit. There was a bit of turmoil going on with the whole, whatever new ownership.
Yeah.
And they didn't want people to target our wing backs or left backs, which at the time were obviously Chilwell and Reece James. Reece James got a nice contract, and obviously he kind of deserves it because he was one of the best right backs in the league in terms of him when he's fit.
When he's fit, that's a big hit, to be honest.
Yeah, and obviously left back was Chilwell at the time, but then Chilwell just slammed the decline on a mad one. It's like we couldn't move him on because he's a bit like Luke Shaw. He's just sitting there collecting his money. Now, obviously, we sent him on loan to Crystal Palace last season where he won the FA Cup, but then they can't keep him because the amount of wages he's on. So, if he does get a move, then we'll see what happens. But
who's gonna get him on those wages, though? Who's gonna take him on those wages?
I don't know, and if they don't, I think he got a year left on his contract. We're willing to, let him go. Because remember, we made losses basically. Because who covers our losses? The Madueke deal and all those other ones where you made profit.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
No, I never meant it like that. But I'm saying those are the profits from those things are what.
You want Odegaard in your team? We can do something there.
Yeah. What? Odegaard.
Yeah.
Listen, you want to know about Odegaard? I've gone to Norway recently. I was in Norway in March. Yeah. They don't rate Odegaard in Norway.
See,
they don't.
You want him though?
They blame him for not making the Euros because they say that say the striker relies on service. We can't blame Haaland because the game is played behind him. If you put him in those positions, he scores the goals, and I think his numbers are crazy. We saved him.
But it was like that with Odegaard because they were playing Kazakhstan in the World Cup qualifiers or something like that.
Yeah.
It was 0-0 up until he got injured, obviously, unfortunately, and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as he came on, they won 3-0. Like he
Yeah,
got off instantly. Like there
I
is something.
remember that. Yeah, I remember that. I remember
Must be
that.
something. And afterwards, he didn't play. They won 5-1 or something like that. Like go figure. Like it's Odegaard. Like it's insane. Like even
Mhm.
roasting Odegaard in Norway, it's long. It is long with him. Like
Yeah, you know who they talk about over there? Oscar Bob, and
what's
I
up?
think is it Nusa? I think he's one of them or one of them. They have your a young kid coming up, and there's a few
Not
other players.
not the one that just signed for the City. The
Yeah,
one who
he's the one.
invited.
I
Yeah,
think
that
it's him, and there's a someone.
Naipan, that guy.
That yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they have these players that they rate over there way more Odegaard. The thing is, I was young. Obviously, we were slightly younger when Odegaard, started to make noise when he was younger. Yeah, and he
Was
moved to
16
Madrid.
and everything. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember because I go to Norway and see that all the time. So I remember seeing kids wearing his shirts and all that, whatever. They would see looking at him like, I don't know, like how you lot used to look at Wilshere and all these younger players that you had that was supposed to be big, yeah.
Yeah,
And now they don't rate him at all. But this is why moves dictate your future. There's a lot of players now that you can see Robo that making wrong moves, bro. They see that their team plays counter-attacking football. They're link-up players, and they go to
yeah,
the team just because it's you Manchester United or because it's Arsenal. But it doesn't necessarily suit their playing system. This is the thing. So yeah, a lot of players are making wrong moves, and sometimes that can fully derail your career. So sometimes you can go for the money. You can go for the money. Like Saudi and that. But you need to make the right move, bro. You need to make the right move.
yeah. Like I've been saying this for the longest time. Like the player might not be bad. It's just the team, the system, the manager, the style they're playing. Because if, for example, Martinelli leaves this window based on the
Mhm.
last 2 seasons and he goes to play, I don't know, even Serie A, or he goes, for example, Barcelona and he plays under Flick, he's gonna be phenomenal there, in my opinion.
I don't know about phenomenal, but I think he'll be good.
No, well, not phenomenal, much better. Let's just put it
Yeah,
that.
because remember the bar's on the floor, so it would be considered phenomenal. But the way he's playing now,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the way
But
he's playing, so I get what you're saying.
yeah, it's time like uh, I don't know who else. Like I know there will be players who like the most nuts part is the fact that most players who leave Arsenal, 99% of the time will win trophies when they leave Arsenal. Then
Yeah,
they
man.
don't win at Arsenal or maybe one FA Cup if they're lucky. They go somewhere else and they just bag trophies like I don't know what. Like
Yeah,
it's actually
yeah,
kind of insane in those terms. But well, at least we have a striker now. It took us 3.5 years, but we got there finally.
yeah. Listen, talking about that striker, yeah.
Yeah.
You better pray that this manager don't ruin this, like, run like, because this what I said. Yeah, he's either gonna be Henry or he's gonna be
Yeah, yeah,
Nketiah.
so no go.
Now, I'm talking about the man that wore the 14. It's
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
those.
yeah. Yeah.
But the reason I'm saying it is because I've been looking at more on recent times. Yeah, since we had Lukaku, I've been looking at more profiles of players than thingy. Because remember, nowadays it's all system-based football. There's not a lot of
Yeah.
managers. I think the last one recently was probably Ancelotti that was playing this, where he let elder players express themselves and no system, whatever. Yeah, or
Yeah.
part system, but it wasn't fully relying on the system. Now, as a profile, Gyökeres ain't the one in it. But
For us specifically,
yeah, specifically, he's not the one for you. Like.
in those terms, yeah, I can see that
But
why,
but him as a goal scorer, I think he will still score goals, even though
despite
he's
everything. Yeah.
he's despite him not because he might find himself in positions in the box, whatever, he can sniff out those chances, a couple of ones, or be in the right position to get, finish some chances. Yeah, I'll give him that. But I think some people are thinking that because he scored 50 goals, this is the thing though, because he scored 50 goals in Portugal, they're saying, okay, cool, even if we half it, it's 25. If we put Premier League tax, it's 25. But I'm thinking that's not gonna how it works. And if you watch, I've watched a few of his games. I watched the final against Benfica. Remember, because Northside was doing we were doing a watch along, whatever. So you have to watch those games, right? So sometimes I watch a bit of this because the way they play, there's always a lot of space, and he can make those runs where he runs backward, and then all of a sudden he make it similar to Haaland runs. But Haaland's runs been so elite. So and even remember, like we can even make Haaland an example because when Haaland came, he kind of ruined Pep's system because Pep
Yeah,
always played with false nines.
he had to
But
change it, man.
because he's
Quite
such
a
an
bit.
elite goal scorer, he still managed to get goals, even though it was disrupting the rest of the play. Right now, I don't think Gyökeres is on his level, but I do think that from what I've seen from Arsenal in the last couple of years, you've always changed the way you play as well, right? And then
Yeah,
in recent times, so every season there's been a new one, and I usually used to make the joke about, in FIFA you can press the left and right button, and then you can change from ultra defensive to
yeah, yeah.
defense.
Defensive
Yeah, so
attacking.
every year you
Yeah,
went backwards because you went from like ultra attacking to
yeah,
attacking balanced, and then and the last season was ultra defensive. I just from what I've watched, he has this. I know he's quick. Gyökeres is quite quick, yeah,
yeah,
but like he does this thing where he has to chase his touch. Maybe he can't hold up the ball really well, and then whatever. But if you find him in behind, if he finds that space in behind, similar to like a Watkins, he's very dangerous. He, if I can give you someone close to that, it's probably like a Vardy. Do you remember Vardy? Like, even though he had the better hold up play, whatever, but he was more of a guy that can run in behind.
yeah,
If you guys find a way to attract the opposition closer to you and leave that space in behind, it's fine. But then there's other problems. On the counter, you can't have one guy being your runner because that's the problem. You want them like similar to like PSG. They have all those players running, right? They have all those players running when there's an attack.
we need all of them to like 3, 4 players to run
Now
at the
this
same
is where
time.
it's gonna go a bit sideways. Saka's just come back with this major injury. We don't really know how he's gonna be. I'm not saying he won't be good, but you don't. There's a question mark there. Martinelli can do the running, but can he put that final ball in the box, the right kind of
It
ball in
will
the
be
box?
Madueke on the
If
left
it's
wing,
not,
I
it's
think.
Madueke, then it's not that bad because he's on. He can sprint and run whatever. He's fine. But is his final delivery good enough? You go back to the midfield, and this is one of my biggest question marks when it comes to Arsenal. Yeah, I think Zubamendi is good. I'm not gonna say he's a good player, but I'm comparing it now to the best teams and their midfielders, right?
Yeah,
Because if you potentially want a challenge, your midfield might not be it might not need to be the greatest, but probably will be when you play those top four teams. But in the Champions League, you need to have a top midfield.
yeah.
Because if you face a PSG, you'll get cooked. If you face a whatever Real Madrid, they have Chouameni, X, Y, and Z.
Well,
You get not the greatest midfield right now in Real Madrid,
yeah,
but if usually it was always been just very very strong midfield. City now have Reinders, Reinders, Rodri, whatever in midfield. I look at your midfield and I think
it's weak
as
though
like a
for me.
as like a Zubamendi is good, but we need to see how he's gonna adapt or whatever. We don't know how it's gonna be. Midfield's usually the most difficult to kind of
Yeah,
adapt. Yeah. If you Declan Rice is someone I don't really rate that highly, but that's because I feel like he's a bit more like Gallagher, where they can recover the ball and everything, and they give you legs in midfield. He's always been good at striking the ball, crossing the ball, and all that. But usually, crossing the ball, if you've played football, crossing the ball is like a percentage game. You just
it's
aim somewhere and you kind of
luck.
just
It's a game of luck, basically.
yeah.
What
It's
happens?
similar to that. Even when Saka cuts in and he crosses the ball back post, you just put it in a certain area and you hope someone gets in the end of it.
Yeah,
That's similar to
basically.
it.
Yeah,
Your set pieces have been great in terms of Gabriel always getting in the end of things and actually being able to finish. That's actually good. But in terms of that midfield, I've seen too much of Rice, especially in the Euros, yeah. And I don't know if you can actually let me know. But I've realized that if someone's not next to him, he doesn't play well. So who I'm talking about was when he had Party next to him in midfield, he was good. But if Party was right back or Havertz next to him or Marino, it wasn't that great. We had a similar thing in the Euros where he needed Kobe Mainu to carry him because what he was doing, if you play him in the eight, you know how he goes further forward when he's in the eight. The problem with him is that he hides behind the players where no one can make that direct forward
yeah,
pass to get him the ball. His first touch ain't the greatest, and then he's never been good on the half turn. But as a recovery guy, he can do a job. But if
yeah.
a player is not good in progressing the ball, you can't put him in a lone six.
He needs a backup though. No, on the pitch, like someone next to him. He needs someone who
Yes,
holds his
but if
hand.
you're gonna play him in the lone six, you can't because those players need to be able to progress
We
the ball. It
need
can't
double
just be
pivot.
sideways.
Like 4-3-3 when we play, he doesn't have that person next to him because everyone pushes up. He has two center backs and him at back at best. We kind of need a double pivot in like 4-2-3-1, for example,
Okay.
where he's like two players sitting there to some extent.
Yes. Now I agree that he's a elite ball carrier,
Yeah,
but there's obviously the difference between dribbling and ball carrying. But at the same time, when it comes to him carrying the ball, he can't do it as much now because of how you guys play. Right?
yeah,
This when he was at West Ham, he will recover the ball and hit on the counter, and then you see him running all the way to the end of the pitch. He used to do that a lot at West Ham. He just doesn't really have it. Like as in he can't really do it because of the way you guys play. So he gets the ball and then because he doesn't move the ball quick enough sometimes, he ends up going back or sideways. Now, this is not me hating on Rice. He was linked to us years ago, and he was one of
yeah,
our players years ago. But I just feel like he can do a job. But if you really want levels, you have he's one of the reasons why your manager's gone and got Zubamendi. Because the Zubamendi thing was way before the whole party situation, Jorginho leaving, whatever. And before that, and everyone said this recently, because remember the whole story has been that Zubamendi's coming to replace Party because they're doing this, mad. They're playing mind games with us here because they think
yeah,
that we're not stupid, but we know that you bought Zubamendi earlier. But what really happened is, if Declan Rice played next to Jorginho, Jorginho can be the one dictating, passing the ball around.
exactly.
All he
Yeah,
has to do is sweep. This is the thing. Obviously, Zubamendi can do it. The problem with Zubamendi is that he really does a lot in La Liga. Is pass the ball wide.
yeah, to sides.
He doesn't really do too much passing through. You know what I mean? Those
Yeah,
in the middle. But maybe if he starts doing that, that can help you guys a lot. But this is my thing. If one of them gets injured, you go down to no guard, no the guard, whatever in the yeah. So then, what is he playing in the Champions League? He's just come from Brentford. You're gonna put him against I don't know
and that will be fantastic against Real
exactly.
Madrid or Barcelona or someone like that.
And
Like
then you also have your question mark of what's the guy, the Odegaard guy? Is he on? Is he going to be good this year or is he going to be bad?
we need Eze. We need a ball carrier through the midfield to some
Yes,
extent. Who
and this
can
is
do
what I
that.
think he will make a big improvement if he gets a really big improvement if you play him in the 10, you kind of Odegaard to back up or they switch around. If he's not playing well, you take him off, bring on Eze or whatever it is, right? So if you really start going through it that way, and I'm not really going through your defense because I don't think your defense is really an issue, but you have to see whether you're going to get them to overlap, whatever. Um, I don't know how Mosquito plays. All I know, Lee told me he's quick. You know what's funny about Mosquera, whatever his name is? In March, I messaged Lee. Yeah, Lee Gunn. I messaged him. I
Of
said,
course,
"Yo, Lee." I WhatsApped him. I said, "Yo, Lee, yeah, I got a question. We're linked to this Mosquera guy. Yeah, can you tell me, is he a scrub or is he good? Because Lee he says it. Just
yeah,
he's a
straight.
scrub, and you're doomed. You know you're doomed if he says he's a scrub.
Yeah,
He goes, he didn't see the message yet at the time, and then when you guys are linked to him, and it looked like you were gonna get him. You know how on WhatsApp you can do that thing where you can swipe it to the side. You can do it on Twitter, and then you can just type it, and it goes back down, and it tells you what you're replying to.
yeah,
I
yeah.
said to him,
Close friendly. Yeah,
"You never
close.
answered my question, so can you tell me is he a scrub?" He goes, "He's all right. He's just quick, nothing special." I was like, "Oh." So we didn't lose on anything really, but then obviously they're telling us he's the backup for Saliba. But then when I looked into it, and Lee looked into it, he played most of his games left centre back.
Yeah,
But he's right footed, which I get. But I'm
but
like, okay.
I think he's gonna be on the right though. Left side for us is kind
Or
of
do you
long.
think they're preparing just in case Saliba gets sold?
Maybe, I don't. Maybe not this season, but next season it could be the case.
Hmm.
Especially if we don't win anything. I think I know there are talks that Andrea Berta has opened contract extension situation going on with Saliba, but I wouldn't put it against Saliba that he puts those talks on hold till end of the season because he will still have 1 year left on the deal, and then we'll see what happens. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put
But
it
then,
against that.
then there's obviously defense good goalkeeper. I don't rate him that highly, but he fits your system and he does his
Oh
job
yeah,
there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He does his job there, so there's no issues. I don't think there's a problem with him. So I'm not saying that he
Well,
needs
two
to be.
Golden Gloves in a row, to be honest. But
Yeah,
that
but
also is partially
if
on
you
defense.
play that
Real.
defensively, bro, like if you got the
Like,
whole wall of Chinese in front of you, bro, of course, you know. But obviously, he does it for you. I think you can upgrade on him, but there's no need. Like right now, there's no specific need, in my opinion. And
but it's
but
hard to
then
upgrade on him to some extent, even if we talk about Raya, like in those terms, because most of the goalkeepers, well, I would say about most.
someone said Saliba Magalas got him the Golden Glove.
Well, but to be honest, you can't like together with also with what's its face, Simba as well, playing
Mhm.
through everything. Like you kind of cannot even argue with that because yes, Raya made some fantastic saves in the early parts of the season,
Yeah,
like double save or penalty save or stuff like that to some extent.
yeah.
But overall, the amount of shots and chances of most of the teams create against us, like it's kind of pretty obvious in those terms that he's gonna keep a clean sheet or he's gonna concede only one goal or something like that, and we will be in the game at least in these times with the team like we have right now, specifically defensively.
Yeah, yeah, but then yeah, so I think yeah, going through your right back options are fine. I think I rate Timber highly. I think if I look through it, I think maybe after Reece James, I think he's probably the best right back in the league in terms
Reece
of
James, yeah.
bro. He ain't better than Reece James,
Well, he's
respectfully.
not that free kick for
But
England. That,
you,
that,
you
that
need
was
to know I'm
just
Dutch, so I rate like from a Dutch perspective, like. If Reece James didn't exist in this league right now, I would have said he was the best in the league. But he is like he is, okay, cool. You know what I mean? It's ready, mate. You know, because people stopped, bro. I had some other stuff on here and people never liked it, so I was like, you know what? Because bro, I had this thing and people hated me for it.
like to be honest, not wrong.
So I just changed it to something normal.
You get
Yeah,
for to be honest, for Dutch team, you need a new manager though. I kind of,
yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah. Okay,
I
yeah.
like your manager is not it. Like
Yeah,
for
he
the
left
way
at the
I
wrong
see it.
time. He's a big example of we sometimes the grass ain't green on the other side. Because when we were balling out, he decided to leave for Barcelona, bro. Remember that period when he played the managers Barcelona? It didn't work out for him, and then he tried to come back. So yeah, man, it's crazy.
The
But
firing blanks, to be
big up
honest.
to Lewis, man. Lewis is the one that got me that picture, man. You know what I mean? Carefree Lewis, big up to him.
But
But
yeah, like yeah, go for it, go.
yeah, sorry. So before, sorry for interrupting, but it's like so when you look at your defense, midfield, and potentially not knowing how your team's gonna play, in terms of this is the thing for me. There's a lot of clubs you kind of know how Liverpool's gonna play football. They might change formation, but the philosophy, the base is the same, right?
Yeah,
City, you know how Pep plays football. He might start messing about with inverting fullbacks, goalkeepers, whatever that he does, centre backs. But the way he plays is quite similar, unless he decides to go a different way. And we know Pep kind of takes a bit of while to sort himself out in the
yeah,
beginning, but once it sticks, it ticks. We don't know if he's going to do that this season yet, but we'll see if that happens.
it could be the
I
case.
think the biggest question mark here
It's you
is,
lot.
yeah,
It's you lot, to be honest, for
you
me.
know, I think we're the more like people don't know how we're gonna turn up in terms of whatever. Like they know how our football is, but our thing's more our
The dark
consistency.
forces, like
I
the
think
dark
for us, it's
forces.
our consistency. I think our thing is more people know we're dangerous if we're consistent enough, right? Are we gonna
Yeah,
be consistent enough or not? But with Arsenal, my thing is, bro, you might revert to playing your football from that 8 points ahead season,
22,
or you
23
could play
season.
or
Like
whatever season.
that was the prime football, which needed tweaked just a tiny bit defensively, like of the ball.
Which you did, I think, the season after. You did that in the season after. I think you're a bit more
For the
balanced.
second part of the season, for the first half of the season, we genuinely just that was embarrassing. Like 1-7 in December and all that stuff.
Yeah, but
That
this
was
is
the
where,
purple patch Havertz season in the second part of the season.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Like that second part of the season, that was actually great. We went like 60. We lost one game in 16 or something like that, and
yeah,
just
yeah.
drew a few. Like we needed that. Like we need to go back to that.
So this is my thing. So I do think that my thing is I don't know the problem with me and like the Arteta thing, whatever. Like when people always ask me, I've always felt like he's always changed the base. He's
Yeah,
always when he's changed everything and he started again. And I feel like if usually when you do a process, you build the like the foundations, and then you build everything above that, right? So
Yeah.
I would think, you know what, I by now we should know everything you're playing. You should just be taking a player out who you think's not good enough in that system, and you just improve that player.
Yeah,
Do
one
you know
or
what I
two.
mean? Maybe
Like,
do something like that where we okay, this is how Arsenal's playing, but we need someone who can do this, so you bring him in, right? The problem is like I've now divided a player who we don't really know suit is it going to work out or not. We have to kind of look into it. So we including all the other things we've mentioned. How far can you go? Now obviously Liverpool's Liverpool right now. They're doing this crazy thing. We'll see. We'll see what they do.
who
But
cares?
we still don't. With the Liverpool thing is a bit weird. Where are they going to be able to integrate all those players in and still play the way they did last season? Because
Yeah, technically they have
right
a
back,
better squad,
right
but it
back,
will
left back.
click. Go figure.
This is the thing though. Right back, left back. They're bringing in. Strike. They got one or potentially two strikers coming in.
Yeah, half of the defense has changed and half of the attack has changed. So go
Yeah.
kind of figure what's
No,
gonna how that's gonna go.
usually they in Liverpool. Usually in the last couple of years, all their players have integrated nicely. So like usually they bring a player in and it's fine. But obviously we'll see how it works out with them now. But if you look at obviously the players that they brought in and what the squad looks like, potentially one of the best goalkeepers, is what the one of the best defenders. I mean, it's one of the best right wingers. So they have players there. So we'll see what happens. I just feel like for me, the biggest question mark is for me is Arsenal out of all the other ones, because you see me, I know how the football I've played last season is similar to the football we've played. Yeah, this season similar to the football you've seen in the Club World Cup.
Yeah,
The only difference has been the players understanding what the manager wants to do, and I can refer back to like what Enrique done with PSG. Remember that the beginning of the season was terrible, and
yeah,
this is a thing that you see a lot with possession-based teams, or when managers switch to a possession-based team, players don't understand their roles yet, and you get this guy to invert or do this job and that job, and people just mess it up and you lose games. We've always played good football the whole season. There was just that patch where we lost games, we lost 9 games or whatever, and or drew them. I don't remember.
oh, that
There was,
was yeah.
yeah, I was doing watch alongs, bro. People were coming in my watch along to laugh because Sanchez made a mistake. That's what happened. But
Those are the days, though. To be honest,
it was every game, and every game I used to start the stream saying, "Please, Sanchez, not today, please,
prayer
Sanchez."
before the game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But for me, I feel like we've seen glimpses of the football you've seen, for example, against PSG in that final. We've always seen it, but we feel like as Chelsea fans that was the moment we feel like it clicked, right? The new players that came in, they performed. Even people, the donkeys like Sanchez here over here,
Yeah,
and some other ones performed.
he had a great
So
performance. To be
because
honest,
we have the third best defense in the league, numbers wise, right? Colwell was good and then he dropped off, but his best partnership was with Fofana. He wasn't always there. Our left back potentially one of the best left backs in the league, you can say. And then our right back is Reece James. So we don't have that bad of a back line. It's just that usually backline defense is based on structure more than it is individuals. Individuals can do things, right? But it's usually structure. And you can see that with your team when you have even Saliba and Gabriel might not be on the same level as you might think. If you remember in the beginning, Gabriel was a bit of the bozo one, and this guy was the
yeah.
calm one. But they complement each other well, and you have like a team, like you have a unit there. So for us, it's just getting the understanding. And my thing's always been when you have a goalkeeper like Sanchez in goal, it doesn't bring you calmness, and you can't trust him. So what ends up happening is you end up doing something rash to make sure that
Yeah.
he doesn't have to deal with it, and there's always nervousness about, and we always used to play the ball in the back. But I feel like we've now improved players in those positions and we have a bit more depth. So that should actually help us a bit more. I don't think we're going to. I always said that this season we needed to challenge. Obviously, it's going to be way more difficult to do that. But as long as we can, I just want to see us play to that level and just keep going to the end. If we can get, if we can go to the end with Liverpool, that would be great. I don't think that's really that possible, but you never know. You know what I mean? But
So
I just have a sense, a feeling that tells me that we're gonna be there and thereabout at the end. I
Top
do think
four, so basically at the end of the season.
top four. I think second or third.
Second or third. So who's the
Like,
odd one out? Let's just say second. So who's the odd one out?
I think City and then Arsenal. I think you make fourth.
Oh, the meme is back for the fourth day. It's under Arsene Wenger. Fantastic. You're kind of
That's not what I meant, but
I know,
I get
but
what you're saying. Yeah.
but like to be honest, based on the window so far, like I know it's still a month and 1 week and a month to go. Just put it that way.
Mhm.
Based on the window alone, like top four of Chelsea, Liverpool, City, and Arsenal, it's a massive gap to be honest. To the rest of
Yeah,
them,
and
because
someone just said it. Boy, 10 just said it. He said,
like
Messi said
Newcastle,
that.
go figure. Aston Villa, go figure. What's gonna happen there, and then of course there are the rest of them. Like,
Yeah, and he said it. He said it in the chat. Look, he said top four race this season because Liverpool, Arsenal, City, and Chelsea have separated
yeah,
themselves from the rest of the window. So that means that by a certain points this season, we could just all be ahead of everyone else, and there's
no,
just a
top
big
four is
gap.
this season.
Everyone's fighting for Europa League and Conference League.
Well, unless we get the fifth spot again,
Yeah,
like Premier League doesn't get, so then it could be something there. But like for me, Liverpool is the favorites, no matter how you look at it, based on last season, anyways.
yeah.
Then the rest of them, every single team has something to offer, but every single team misses something also quite massively to kind of catch up to Liverpool, at least on paper, to say the least.
Shaky, but then my main thing is their right back. They're still trying to play this Nunes on right back. We don't know who's going to be their right back yet. Ait Nouri is a really good left.
They're gonna
wing
get
back.
Livramento though. Like that is the biggest question because Newcastle have offered him a new deal because City are ready to pay about 70 odd million for him or something like that.
So if they get him, that's a very, very big move, and that would help them. Obviously, they got James Trafford.
Today.
I don't think he's the greatest goalkeeper, but obviously, maybe he can end up doing the job. Because remember, City's goalkeepers don't always get challenged. It's similar to when Edison was in goal. He was basically a centre back, extra centre back.
Oh, just like Raya.
When they fully control the ball, when they fully control the game, he barely has to touch the ball, make saves. He only has to make a couple of saves.
Yeah.
The problem is when obviously last season they had their big issue in midfield, and obviously it was aging. What was happening was the midfielder kept getting bypassed. So you're always facing the defenders, and at some point, once you beat a couple of defenders, you're going straight at the goalkeeper. So, yeah, man, I think they have that issue, and we've already spoken about Liverpool. So, I think it's going to be an exciting season in terms of. It's going to be not as exciting in terms of obviously Liverpool being as strong as they potentially can get, even if they get Isak. Like if it all clicks, we're in trouble. In terms of we won't be able to win the league like that. That's obviously not exciting.
Done already, pretty much. Like let's be real, if they get Isak, you can kind of wrap it up now.
You still have to look at all the other trophies you can collect.
Yeah, that of course is the
and
case.
try to. My thing is, as long as you perform to your highest level, if you miss out, then at least you've done it. Like as in you've gone all the way in terms of you've played the right way and you've got all the way to the end. Now I'm not saying every year you want to just get to the end and you've played well, because you know about that better than me. But at some point, obviously, you want to get over the line, which I understand. But now it's a bit more difficult.
6 years, for fuck's sake.
But now it's a bit more difficult with the way Liverpool spending strength.
The window is closed, pretty much. Not transfer window, but the window of opportunity. Let's just in those terms. I kind of think we had 2 chances, we screwed them up, and pretty much the window is pretty much closed because teams that were ahead of us are still there, and teams that were miles ahead, like you lot, for example, you have caught us up. Like there is no more this big gap that we would have a shot at it. Because also our start the season is hell on earth. Let's be real.
That's another thing I forgot to mention. Yeah.
To be honest, first 7 games we have to play United away, Leeds at home, Liverpool away. 12 years haven't won there. That's fun always. Then we have Nottingham at home, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have City at home, and then we have Newcastle away.
You know all the games. I don't even know who we're playing. I don't remember who. I think it's Crystal Palace or something we play in the first game. We're lucky enough where we're not leaving London, I think, for the first month.
Oh, that's nice. That's
So
nice
we're
to
all
hear.
right. And then I think, yeah, so it's all right for us, especially having, we don't have to travel as much, having done so much traveling in the
Yeah.
Club World Cup and stuff, right? And we're lucky we only have 2 preseason games. We're playing AC Milan and we're playing Mr. Ten Hag's team, you know what I mean?
Leverkusen, nice, nice.
Leverkusen. And obviously, you've seen that story with Xhaka, you know what I
Oh,
mean? You
he's
don't know.
Sunderland, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so we'll see what
pending.
happens over there.
The
We'll
goal
see
job
what happens.
Arsenal is pending 100%. Already
Hmm.
can see it. But for me, personally, based on that start of the first 6-7 games, we
Yeah.
literally could be done by then if we are not on it instantly. We don't
Yeah.
have time to ease in. We genuinely don't have those time to ease in into the league. We instantly have to be on it. And if we're not, well, it will be long damn season.
Yeah, because if this is one of those seasons like that was previously, remember when Liverpool and City were going for the league where you're relying on 3 points or 4 points, that could, what 2 losses can lose you the league or three
Yeah,
losses can lose you the league, then obviously you're going to be in trouble if you lose a couple of games in the beginning because
yeah,
your hope, and then if your players' hopes, because this is the thing as well. Well, the players know how difficult this season is going to be with those other
yeah.
potentially challenging teams. So if they lose those games in the beginning, your morale could just drop.
Yeah, plus injury coming back, everyone just coming back from ACLs and everything. Like the combination of all the things, like it doesn't spell anything positive, at least for now,
Yeah,
at least.
yeah.
Constant
So
expectations.
yeah, man. So we'll see, man. Look, in terms of business, we I feel like we've done right, but we still need to do some more,
Yeah.
and we are kind of on the trajectory I hoped us to be in. Because my aim last season, I didn't know you last season, but last season was obviously to get top four and a trophy on Champions League. What's that trophy? Was the Conference League? Just because we were in it, your aim is to be like, we're the best team in this. We need to win it.
So
Yeah,
4 years of that thing on your chest, by the way, now. That the
four
one
years.
that's behind you, 4 years,
That,
isn't it?
you know what's funny? I looked at it and I was like, you know what? Yeah, we can win it. I could see us win it, but
You're there
obviously,
because of Havertz, by the way. You realize that, right?
no, it wasn't Havertz. It was Edison. Big up Edison, innit? We're there because of Edison, bro. You know what I
Wasn't
mean?
it? Wasn't
Havertz.
it
Oh,
because of Champions League? The
no,
coefficient
yeah. But Havertz almost missed. Havertz
he
almost missed.
scored,
Edison helped him.
but
If it
he still
wasn't for
scored. It
Edison,
was Havertz still.
if it weren't for Edison, yeah, we wouldn't have won that, bro. You know
But
what
to
I
be
mean?
honest, that's the one thing he's living up still to this day. Like, kind of maybe Bayer
We
Leverkusen days
knew
and
that,
that
though. We
one
knew
goal in
that.
the final.
You know what it is? We knew that at the time that okay, cool. When he scored that goal and we won the Champions League, we was like, yeah, he's gonna live up this forever. Like,
He's called hero basically right now.
yeah. So, not really a hero. He's known for doing that goal for okay. But it's one of those things. This is what I'm saying. For us, that's how we look at it. Edison's the hero. You know what I mean? But
Unsung hero basically. Yeah.
you still have to win the games, bro. Like
Yeah,
I
of course.
obviously the thing was that at the time I was confident of beating PSG, but not that confident because it was a one-off game.
Dude, Joe Pedro, just that signing literally carried you through semi-final and final to some extent.
Yeah.
That
Hopefully he can. My thing is hopefully he can carry on in the Prem. Obviously he has played there, so he's a bit different. But hopefully he can keep that same form and do that job. And then you have another. We bought 2 strikers for 80 million. You think about it sometimes and you think, you know what, this is crazy. Like you bought 2 strikers for 80 million,
yeah.
and where
We
some
bought one
people
Havertz for 65. Well,
you also have, but getting that guy for 80, what's his name? Getting the lap for like
30.
30. It's
Release
crazy.
clauses. Like, why
It's crazy.
why no one else went in for him? Like, that for me is the big
Did
question.
Newcastle wanted him, but they got rejected. And who else wanted him? I think City wanted him back. I'm not sure about that one, but I'm
He
pretty
wouldn't
sure.
be a bad, like,
But he didn't. Nah, I don't think he wanted to go there. I don't remember. United wanted him, but then he had to make a choice between United and Chelsea. That's what I was gonna say. Sesko cost 70, and he's not better than any of those.
yeah.
So yeah,
Plus not prem proven and all that stuff they want to say.
yeah. Now it's all prem proven. Now they say to you, he's there because he's prem proven. He's there.
Yeah.
There's always an excuse in it, so we'll see.
Always reasons.
Yeah.
They always can find reasons why not to, and all that stuff like that.
Yeah, man. Listen though, big up. Thank you for having me. I know you're gonna keep going.
He froze.
And I just
No.
have to go somewhere quickly. So,
Oh.
bro, thank you. You know,
Shout out your thing, by the
we
way.
had to come on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Go on.
man. Yasa TV during the season. I do my watch alongs and the match reactions. I have a show with a guy called AJ. You've probably seen him around. Somalian guy, Arsenal fan as well. And he likes to cuss me out and that, but we go back and forth a lot. And yeah, man, I have that show. I have and I do a few other ones. So yeah, man, if you tune in, we don't just do Chelsea stuff. We do some other, you know, we talk to other football fans and whatever. And I think I'm gonna be bringing in way more other people that I know from other type of content creators. And I'm gonna bring Robo back on, bro. We need to do our show on there as well. But I thought good opportunity. I had some time, and I thought sometimes you have to take that step and do it, because otherwise, you and I will both be saying every week, "You will do one next week," and it never gets done. You know how it is, man. Everyone's busy, so I thought, yeah, man, might as well jump on, because I was probably going to be watching this anyway, so it didn't make a difference. But yeah, big up to you. Thank you for having me on as well, and yeah, man, we'll see what happens in it with this season coming up, man. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens.
Bloody hell.
You're worried. I can tell, man. You're worried, bro.
Yeah, but big up for coming on. Big up for coming on. Resident Chelsea and taxman for Arsenal, basically.
Listen, I've been called the translator. I've been called taxman. You know what I mean? Listen, it keeps
and all
going.
for Arsenal, by the way, as well.
Yeah.
Ironically enough.
Ironically, yeah. Some people, as soon as people see me on a show, it's either we don't want you to sell us another player, or what you're translating today, and I'm like, you know what I mean? So yeah, man. Listen, anyway, big up. I'm not a criminal, bro. I'm not a criminal. If you keep buying, that's your fault. You know what I mean? It's not my fault. You know what I mean? But big up to you all, man. Respect.
No, big up for coming on. Big up. But yeah, people. Was fun stream. I'm not gonna lie. Having a different someone else than Arsenal fans on talking about this stuff. And yeah, Chelsea, basically our local supplier Chelsea, basically is here for us. Oh, but yeah, I'm worried about Chelsea. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very, very worried about Chelsea, what they could do in terms of us, in terms of what we could see in those terms, because that could actually be quite annoying, because Chelsea could overtake us this season. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. But yeah, Arsenal have signed Gyökeres. He's getting number 14. That is the biggest news. He's scheduled for medicals tomorrow specifically. Let's see. Apparently, he's going to fly out to Singapore. Maybe we can see him in the game against, against the Spurs, against Spuds, Nando's, and everything. It looks like Mosquera will be playing on Sunday against Newcastle, so we'll have to see how that looks, because kind of interested to see how Mosquera looks against a Premier League side. It's one thing playing with Valencia, playing against Newcastle and Premier League. Complete different story, I'm not kind of going to lie. And of course, the big question still remains, will Arsenal sign Eze? What's going to happen and how that is going to go? Because it is hella annoying and hella suspect in terms of Arsenal at the moment. Because yes, Gyökeres is signing, that is great, but I still believe we need about three more signings. We need a left wing, we need a number 10, we need a left back, and of course outgoings. Big up Hendon. Missed all the fun, missed all the fun. Yes, I was on, talked about Chelsea stuff and everything, missed all the fun, But yeah, big up for coming. Big up for tuning in. But yeah, for today as well, I'm going to be wrapping it up right here. Big up to Yessa for coming on. If you haven't already, go subscribe to Yessa TV. Chelsea fan, covers football, obviously Chelsea, football, Premier League, does watch-alongs and everything. His channel is in the title. Smash the likes and subscribe if you haven't already. Hope everyone's had a great time here. Hope everyone's have a great time tomorrow. Not too sure at the moment whether I'm going to have a stream tomorrow or not. I'm going to update you on YouTube post a bit later on. And if I'm not going to have, I'm going to make a video to upload up at the same time as I would be going live. So definitely I don't miss a day of content. But for today, I'm signing off. So big up everyone for being here. Have a nice evening. Have a nice night. Have a nice day tomorrow. And enjoy the weekend. Peace.